Rollers died again. That slurry stirrer that I put in the middle has given up the ghost. That's a shame. So yesterday the roller, my other roller, the concrete roller, fell to bits on me, so I had to just push it into the hedge, and we'll have to go and collect it when we do eventually take the grass off that field. But yeah, it's a bit annoying, I didn't get any rolling done. It was too wet to spray. So anyway, I decided to take this roller, which is the roller with the wheels on the back, to bits, because it's nowhere near heavy enough. So I'm gonna just, well, I have drained all the water out of it. We took these plates off here. There's just a big plate with a rubber cover, and I filled it, rightly or wrongly, with this gravel that we had, which is the road brushings, just because I thought that was the cheapest option. I was going to put sand in it, but didn't have any sand to hand, and also would have cost money, so I thought I'll just use what we've got. So I filled it with stone. Bit of a fiddle getting this cap back on afterwards, but managed to do it, and it's pretty much full. I'm just ramming the last little bit I can get down into the hole. I did have the idea of maybe putting a bit of waste oil in with the stone, but Dan doesn't think that's a very good idea, but because I'm not sure really. This was sealed, these plates did seal before, no water got out, but I don't know whether they're still sealed now, so you could end up leaking oil everywhere. So I'm just going to try it for now and see. But yeah, it seems in not, considering the rollers are really quite dented, the whole roller itself doesn't seem in that bad nick. The middle shaft isn't very worn, and neither are the main bushes in the middle of the rollers. So what I'll do is I'll probably grease all that up before I put it back in. And both bearings either side are alright, one of them is pretty new. So my only concern is that it's going to make it, in theory, at least twice as heavy with the gravel in. So I'm a bit worried that the little tractor won't actually be able to lift it to take it down the road, but we'll see. Worst case, we'll just have to use a different tractor to move it, or put some weights on the front. So yeah, I'm going to try and get it put back together now. Lights on, number plates on. He's even put a number plate light on it as well. So time to go and put it out the way for a minute so we can have a look at this tether. So now we've got all the tyres pumped up, I don't think that this thing is going to be a big issue when we're actually tedding. As long as you don't want to lift the whole tether off the ground, which you don't tend to do anyway. You tend to leave it down while you're tedding unless you get stuck in a corner. So I think we'll get away with that for now. but in the meantime I've tried to run it up, and these two tines are banging together. There seems to be loads more play between these two rotors than any of the others. Like there's always like 3 or 4 inch between all them, and like nearly 7 inch of play between these. So I think it's probably this keyway. There seems to be a lot of play. Oh, I can't see it now. Don't know whether the camera will show you, but you can just about see the shaft moving inside the yoke. I think the keyway is pretty worn. So I think take these two rotors off, which is just these two bolts I think, and the ram, and then we can see about changing the keyway. Lovely sunset. It's about 8 o'clock at night, but it's the only chance I've had to do some spraying for the last couple of days because the weather's been horrendous, and it's actually probably a little bit too windy as it is, but I'm here now, so it's going to have it. I'm just setting up my GPS. Yeah, Tasha's gone to the other farm to feed them cows, so I could come out here and empty this tank. This spray has been sat in this tank for about 4 days now. In fact, I think it was in here in the last video. But we just keep having downpours all the time. We're not having huge amounts of rain, as in it's really flooding the ground and it's making it hard to travel, but we're having enough to make it bloody horrible to work outside. You can't get any spraying done. But it wasn't windy at all in the yard, but as soon as I come out into this big open field it is quite breezy, but we'll see how we get on. Try and keep my sprayer down. Most of my fields it's not very easy to keep the sprayer down because they're that rough. This one shouldn't be too bad once we get into the middle. Well, we're going to see if the roller, well, if we can lift the roller with the tractor. So it's the moment of truth. Just got to switch the link arms back to Cat 2. Well, it seems to tow it fine. Dan reckons it's probably half as heavy again with the stoning on very, very rough calculations, which I would say it feels about right. But yeah, it's a little bit lighter on the front of the tractor, but it's still perfectly fine to tow down the road. So happy days. So I'm going to roll this little bit because last year it was rough as hell. It's a bit that doesn't really get any muck or anything. It's just a bit of a wet end of a field that we cut, and then give it a week or two to recover after the rolling, and then it won't spraying for weeds. And then it might be hay this year. It might be just a light, quick crop of hay, whereas last year it was that rough I didn't want to come in here with a Tether, so we just silaged it. But if we can, if the roller flattens it down a bit, we might be able to make hay. I'm going to put it on the drawbar hitch now because it's a bit easier to turn. You can turn a bit tighter on the headlands. Going to sort carbs out. We've got 4 to take.
And we're being optimistic that we're going to shuffle.
We're going to shuffle all the pens round, the 3 pens, and end up with 6 to take back in the trailer.
Why are we bringing more back than we think? That's how many we can fit in the warehouse.
Because there's only 4 weaned ready to go. But we might as well take 6 back because there's 6 spare spaces in the warehouse where we just emptied them from. We sold 5, we took 1 to the butchers. Clear as mud. Quick update, well, I'm just about to go out spraying, but Dan's been working on these projects. He's got this box made. He's got to grind all the edges off yet, but that's going to be the extension to this. So it's going to get welded on the end. He's made a new pin, but he was saying that because these bushes had worn an oval shape, the bigger pin that he made, even though it was only slightly bigger, wouldn't fit the bush. So he was going to take the bushes out and see if he could put them in the lathe and make them round again. What are you doing?
Well, I need to make another pin now.
Did you work the bush?
Yeah.
It worked?
Yeah. Yeah, quite happy with that. So I just need to figure out maybe a little pin out of this.
Was that not what you used the first time?
No.
Well, that looks like a piece of a power harrow shaft.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, it's one of the power harrow. That's the main centre pin that goes up into the gearbox. So these are the pins that he's making. They've worn on 2 edges. Is it 2 edges? They're definitely worn there anyway. So he's making a pin exactly the same, but what, 1/2 mil bigger. It's all open. And then, so he sounds like he's been successful in making his, in lathing out this bush. So he's put it in the lathe and he's bored out the middle to make it round again. And now his new pin will fit. Obviously, once it's knocked into the cast, it'll be tight. But yeah, this is one that he's fabricated completely. He's even drilled the middle out and tapped it for the grease nipple. So yeah, and then the next thing to do is he's got a piece of this box, which you can actually buy this size box. Come in and we're going to cut this rough bit off, weld a new piece on, and put a new sleeve around it. And yeah, we're in a bit of a we're trying to get it put back together pretty sharpish really, because I think we're going to want to use it. Oh, and this ram, that ram's been resealed, so that shouldn't be leaking anymore. And then we're just waiting for a bush for the tether. One of these bushes that goes on the arm here fell to bits when we took it apart, so we ordered 2 new ones, or I think at least 2 new ones, if not 4 maybe we'll do these 2 as well, and some more tines. We put some new tines on it, but it's still missing 3 on each side I think. And then we'll get that shaft drilled, put it back together and see if the timing, we're hoping that'll solve the timing problem, so it'll be good to go. Dan's welded this up. So yeah, happy days. I'm getting some spraying done, so I'm going to keep going while the weather's good. The big problem this year is buttercups. This field's, well, this whole block of land is absolutely blanketed with buttercups. And they don't look like much of a problem now, but when they all come through and come to flower, they'll ruin the crop completely, and also all the while they're sucking nitrogen away from the grass. So I don't think this field actually got sprayed last year. I got the spray for it, but it seemed pretty clean. I was more looking out for things like docks and ragworts, which there wasn't many of. So I didn't spray it, and maybe I should have done, but I got away without spraying it. But this year I'm doing the whole lot. Not a massive rate of spray. I'm only putting a light dosage on, but it's just enough to kill them out of the hay anyway, and then we'll see what happens later on, because you don't really notice the buttercups later on in the year, or I didn't last year, so we'll see. Oh, the grass has sort of gone down floppy. I'll get out in a minute and show you, but we've had quite a lot of strong winds over the last few weeks and heavy showers of rain, and all the grass has sort of just flopped over. I'm just wondering whether is it going to stand back up again. We could do some hot sunny weather just to get everything stood back up, because you want to go and lob a load of fertiliser on top of a load of grass that's already sort of gone down really. I don't know whether it's just because I've carried a lot of grass over the winter with having no sheep, and it's all just a bit far ahead of itself for the season really. I don't know. Time will tell. But there's some fields that I think are that flat to the ground and that heavy, got that much heavy lush grass on, that I think it might just be better to mow them and get an early first cut of silage off, and then go for a second cut of hay rather than a first cut, because if the grass isn't going to stand back up again, then it's just going to end up being some dusty horrible hay come June time. But I don't know, part of me thinks I'll just do 1 or 2 fields one way and then do the rest another way, and then at least some of it will be right. Right, got this box welded on. I've also welded up a crack. There was a crack that was right up here on both sides of this box. It was completely knackered basically. It needed some urgent repair, so we've chopped about that much off it, because it was all cracked and fell to bits, and then welded this piece on. And this is all just bits of scrap that was off the muck spreader that's lying outside, so we're still finding a use for it yet. So we'll get it all ground off and cleaned up, and we're just waiting for the bit of box on the outside to come. The time it takes to get stuff made up for you, or cut, in that case it's just a piece of box cut. It's taken like a week for them to give us a ring back, but we could have just made a bit of box ourselves in the time, but that's the trouble. So I've got the extension inside welded onto this piece, which is here somewhere. Comes up to about here now as opposed to here. so that gives us a lot more stability. Got it all so it fits and it slots, and then Dan's just picked up these bits of outside box which is the same size as this, so I've just tacked them on, and I was just making sure that it still slides in and out. Yeah, still got movement, so you can adjust it. That's as far as it goes. That's really good. So I think I'm safe to weld all that up, and then we just need to figure out how to get the shaft back inside, the PTO shaft in the middle, and then get it all back together. Happy days. Dan's just gone to pick up the bushes and the tines for the tether, so by the end of the day we should have everything we need to put everything back together, and then hopefully we can cut some grass. Right, today's the day we're hopefully going to get this put back together. We've finished the rake, the tether, which does occasionally bang, but we're hoping that when it's got crop in it, it'll be all right. There's still a little bit of play between these two rotors, which we're not sure there's a great deal we can do about, but it tends to only knock when you slow it down or speed it up. When it's running consistently, it's pretty good, so we'll just have to use it and see what it's like in the crop. Other than that, we're really quite chuffed with it. Dan's put 2 new bushes on these pins, and we've got a load of spare ones, so we could do all 4 pivot points if we wanted. So that's that done. So now we're wanting to get the rake put back together. Dan's had these pins in the freezer, and he's been heating the bushes up because he says they're going to be really tight.
Yeah. 50%. That one's gone tight and I can't get it out.
That's cold.
It's not going to go in or out, that one. That one's lovely. Lovely and tight.
Were they 2 different size pins?
Yeah, slightly.
We welded this extra bit of box on yesterday, and Dan's put a brace all the way around it to stop it cracking, because it was cracking along here. Well, here.
I mean, you haven't welded here.
No, I missed that bit, but that sleeve was still sound, so I didn't think it would be a big issue really. But yeah, this is the extension, which we were hoping, if it all works out, we'll hopefully do it on the other side as well, but the other side was nowhere near as bad as this, so we'll see how it goes. And then we're hoping that taking the play out of the pins stops the whole rake rocking so much.
Not sure I'm going to get that back out again now.
Well, we've got the mower on, and I'm going to go and try it. Well, see, mow one field of grass. Because Dan's got the rake all back together. We've got some really nice weather, and I don't think we're going to gain much by leaving it any longer. So I thought we'll just mow one field, and just check how all the machinery's working. Because yeah, he's got the rake back together, but I'm slightly concerned that the side that we've repaired has been massively improved, but it's made the other side look really worn, and I'm not sure that both going to rake at the same pitch So I'm a little bit worried that it's not going to really rake very well, because one side's going to need a different position than the other, if that makes sense. But we'll see. Dan wants to just give it a go anyway. But we could potentially do a bit of work to the other one to try and tighten up the angles a bit. But so I'm just going to mow one field off. He says he's going to put the other mower on, because we're just quite curious to see whether it does mow with the different blades. I put 2 different blades on the end rotor that kept banging, so he will hopefully at some point get down here and we'll see whether or not it mows. But I suspect I'll have the majority of it cut by the time he gets it on and gets it out, because the mower did have a flat tyre. So anyway, we'll go and give it a go. The field we're going to cut is the one in the distance. Don't know whether you can see it from here, but the Westwold field, which is always the first one to go at. We've got a couple of little ryegrassy fields that we could cut in the next couple of days, that will probably just, that's grass that we'll keep for ourselves, whereas this stuff we're hoping to sell or trade for calves. So we'll see how it goes. Would you believe me if I told you that our fertiliser still hasn't arrived? I'm just going to wind this top link back. I'm going to mow a bit too tight like that. Been assured that the fertiliser is getting bagged and it's on its way, but we haven't got a date for when it's going to arrive. So I'm a little bit anxious about starting to mow silage when there's nothing to put on the grass after first cut. But anyway, we'll just have to hope for the best. I'm not an expert, but I would say that's mowing a little bit too high. So maybe I shouldn't have shortened the top link. Maybe I'll lengthen the top link. Maybe I'll shorten it back up again. Although I don't know. No, I'll keep going. It's a bit bumpy, this field, so I don't want to go too short, because I'll just end up hackering my blades. I might keep going and do a round. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad now. I don't know. What do you think? There will be a few mole hills, well there usually is, so maybe that'll do. Dan won't be able to adjust his mower height, so there's probably not too much point worrying. Right, we'll get mowing and see how quickly we can saw this off. Well, it's going well. I've done all the short ground. Dan's just turned up with the other mow, so let's see how that gets on in a minute once he gets going. Yeah, it's going very well. I'm actually quite chuffed with this grass. There's way more on it than I thought there would be, and I was a little bit worried that it's quite weedy, but there are weeds in places, but it's not like that. So yeah, I'm quite shocked. Pretty clean. There's the odd bit of dock, but that shouldn't do too much harm. There's mowing. think it's the first time it's been out actually since it got majorly welded up on the back axle. Seems like it's running alright. So the disc would be here somewhere. It'd be cut in this bit where we put the shorter discs, and you can see there's a tiny little bit of a tuft, but it's not cut in the same as the rest. But I wouldn't have said that's too bad really for an old mower. It might be worth more to us to keep it than to try and sell it. Oh well, we'll keep going. I'll soon have this sheared off then and we'll go back for lunch. Tether in action. Seems to be going alright. There is something rattling, but I think it's one of the wide vehicle signs. That's what it is anyway. It's making a lovely job. Picking everything up, but it isn't half throwing it far as well, which is what they say about these tethers. I came here on the case, but as soon as I pulled in the field and dropped it down, one of the link arm stabilisers snapped off. Well, it's only got one, and it snapped off a couple of times before. So it's been repaired a few times, but it's going to have to be repaired again before we use that tractor again, because that wrapper is very heavy on the link arm, so that's what kept breaking it. I don't know why this broke it. So yeah, that's to drop it off, take that tractor back, and then come with this tractor to finish it off. I'm just heading out the middle of this field where it was really long and lush. The shorter stuff around the headland I won't bother with because it'll end up like hay. I'm just more worried about this sappy, leafy stuff. Yeah, it's making the right job. Yeah, to me, this rotor is leaning back, whereas the other one, we reckon we've got it dead level now. The problem is that there's just loads of play. There's play in them pins and there's play in the box. Which we could get out, but it means sort of taking it apart. But anyway, Dan's going to see how it goes. We've seen this. Over-engineered. I said just put a rod on with a pin through to put a spare wheel on. And this is what he's come up with. So this is the arm that's broken. There's a piece that goes on here, which then goes through this hole to connect that stabiliser arm to the link arm, and it just keeps breaking. This is the bit that keeps snapping off, and Dan's tried welding back onto it, but this piece is cast, so he's just going to make basically that out of steel. I'm guessing these are the arms, and then hopefully it'll weld stronger and it should last a bit longer. Where's your plate? Oh, so you're gonna... Oh, I see. So you're gonna put that's the threaded pin that'll put slot into here and weld into there. And then the two tabs on each side, basically recreating this. Anyway, that's what he's doing, because we can't really do anything until that's fixed, because we can't do raking with it, or we can't do wrapping with it. So hopefully he'll get that fixed tonight, and then we'll get baling tomorrow. I'm just trying to dig the baler out. Absolutely buried full of other stuff in the back of the shed, so just going to move all this crap out of the way and get it out and get it all greased up, and there's a couple of tines to put on, and then hopefully it'll still be working. It fit. Amazing. I thought the odds of it actually fitting. Baler's on, ready to go. We're just going to go and have some breakfast. Dan's just trying to make a strap box to go under here. Fasten it to this so we can put the straps in. That is actually the cover off the chain cover off the muck spreader. I tell you, the amount of usage we've had making things from that muck spreader is unreal. Endless amounts of fabrication from one muck spreader. It's surprising, really. Alright, we've just welded this box on in a bit of a hurry, but it's pretty solid, so we should be able to put plenty of straps in there. Bit of a rush job, it wants painting really, but it doesn't look too bad. Right, I'm gonna go. Dan's been and made a start raking before I started welding that, so he should be well ahead of me now. Go and give it a go. One thing I have noticed is this baler sat really high up because we've put bigger tyres on this tractor, so I don't know whether that'll be an issue or not, whether we might need to adjust the hitch to lower it down, but we'll see. We'll go and have a go, see what happens. But it's going well. I was just going off over the hill. Rake seems to be working, he gave it a thumbs up. Baler seems to be working, I've done 3 bales. So we'll see what... I was a bit worried this grass was going to be too dry, but it's real juicy stuff in the bales, so they're quite heavy bales. But yeah, it's had 24 hours on the ground, so I don't think you really could have done much more dry than what we've done. I think it'll be nice stuff. Well, Dan's been in the field with a wrapper for 10 minutes or so. He's managed to wrap nearly 4 bales, so don't know how well that's going. I think he is wrapping alright, but he does seem to be getting out each bale, so whether it keeps ripping, I don't know. Just the usual wrapper drama, I think. I managed to block the baler once, so I had to completely handball it all out. But other than that, it's going really well. We've got 45 bales so far. I'm just having to go steady because it takes a bit of squashing in the baler, this stuff. It does squash in tight, but you just have to... It's very easy to get a big lump and then to block your pickup reel, so I'm just going real steady, just trying to make really nice round bales. But yeah, I don't know what we're going to be looking at, maybe 50 or so, at most 60 maybe, I don't know. If we have too many more than 50, we might run out of net. Well, I just spoke to Dan and he said the wrapper was working great. He did about 30 bales in a row without getting out, and then it's just started ripping every one. Well, it's snapping. The wrap started snapping on every bale now. He looks like he's getting out again. So it just seems to be the way with this wrapper. Sometimes it works great, and sometimes it rips the net, and we can never rips the wrap. Sorry, and we can never figure out why. There seems to be no rhyme or reason. It might be just because it's getting warmer and the wrap's just getting a bit sticky. Possibly, we don't know. I'm loading bales anyway. I'm going to fill this trailer in and I'm going to go get the new trailer and give it its first bale outing to see how many we can get on it. I'm hoping we'll be able to get the same amount as what I can get on this one. Oh, it fits the bales on lovely. Squeeze this one on the back. We really could do with a bale bar on the back though, and I know exactly where to put it now. Oh, look at that. Oh, isn't that satisfactory? Making a bale trailer. I'm really pleased. Bit of a hiccup. I'm not sure that this trailer's really going to take the springs are up to taking this kind of weight. We've got this issue here which we kind of knew we were going to have, where we're going to have to cut this section out because this is rubbing now that the springs have sat down. We did it here, we got this one and welded that piece of angle in, but on this one we thought we'll just see how it goes and then we'll just cut out whatever we need to cut out. But yeah, we do need to cut that out. But yeah, it's the whole thing is just sat quite low down. The springs are near enough level, so I don't know whether it's wise really to do any big journeys with it. And also, yeah, very back heavy. That's not on the ground. Now it is. But yeah, the way the bales sit, I mean, to be fair, they could be bunched up a bit at the front, but I thought the middle bale would be dead central, if not a bit towards the front, but it isn't really. So yeah, it's perfectly well balanced. So it's probably going to rattle on the hitch a fair bit. Back to the drawing board. Maybe it'll just have to be a hay trailer. But we'll see. Dan's going to bring the grinder and we'll cut these sections out anyway. Happy days. Other than that, I'm really chuffed with it. It's really nice and wide. You can get 2 bales wide and a big gap in the middle to get your grab over the top easily. So yeah, just do we risk taking it on a long... We've got to cart all these bales to where I get the calves, which is probably like an hour on the road, so I don't know whether it's wise to take this trailer, whether I should go and borrow another one. But anyway, I'll have to make that decision. Right, well that was a bit of a dramatic journey. Oh, there's always something. But we made it all the way with 2 loads. We're on our way back, unloaded. This trailer, one of the wheel nuts kept coming loose. And we didn't really have any sockets or the right size spanners to do it up, only adjustables. So we're quite lucky that I noticed it. I pulled over in a lay-by to let Dan catch up and to just check his straps. And I was just feeling the tyres, and I noticed that one of the hubs was red hot, and then I looked and all the wheel nuts were loose, like really loose. So we did them up as tight as we could get them with the adjustable spanner. And then we went a couple more miles, and then I jumped out and checked again. I managed to tighten 1 or 2 up a little bit more, but they seemed alright. And then we went another couple of miles, and then I stopped again, and they were really loose again, like halfway undone. So yeah, we stopped another one time, and then where we stopped, just up the road from here actually, it was by a farm, and one of the lads at the farm came out and said, "What do you need?" And we said, "Oh, we can do it to 27mm sockets," so we brought one out, and we did them up dead tight. So I'm hoping it'll be alright now, going home empty, and then we'll have to see if we can find some new nuts when we get home. But yeah, Dan swapped trailers. He's got the we borrowed that brand new Marshall trailer from where we took the bales, so he'll be alright. He's finally got brakes now at work. But I decided to bring this one home because it just tows so much nicer than the single axle one. And I'm just hoping that I'm going to be able to find some wheel nuts to put it right, and then we'll bring another load in the morning. So yeah, a bit of drama. We knew there was going to be something, but overall the trailer, Dan was following me all the way, and he said it just rides over the bumps lovely, whereas his single axle trailer was bouncing all over the place. It is a lot nicer to tow. So we'll be in about 3/4 of an hour home. It'll probably be dark by the time we get home, but we'll hopefully get these bales loaded up tonight so they don't get pecked by birds, and then maybe bring them back to the yard and bring them here in the morning. That's the plan. Dan's moaning he's got a bale sticking out, so I'm going to try and push it on, but I don't think it'll go because it's quite tight getting these bales in. We'll see what we can do. Must have caught the hedge with it. It's all ripped. That's as good as it's going to get. So we had a bit of an issue yesterday with this. This wheel kept coming loose. All these wheel nuts. We found one of the nuts had a crack in it. The bearing was loose. Dan's tightened the bearing up and he's checked all the others. We found a spare wheel nut to replace the one that cracked, and we've tightened them all up hellish tight. So we're just going to pull over in a bit and check them. And we've tightened all the wheel nuts up. Some of them were a little bit loose. So then we go again. And yeah, we just have to put more weight on the front, because if we put that bale on the back, it's too back heavy. So yeah, we're maybe back to the drawing board with the design. We're thinking maybe whether we could bring this further forward so this bale sits further forward. It might help balance the trailer a bit, but we'll see. Well, we made it. No issues at all on this journey. Checked the wheel nuts twice and they haven't fudged, so they obviously cured it. Tightening up the bearing, that must have been what was causing them to wiggle loose. Dan reckons he's got a puncture on his tractor tyre though, so there's always something. Well, me and Dan have had a right session changing tyres on tractors. We've swapped. Well, first of all, we had a puncture. This is the tyre that was on the case, and then when we were coming home from delivering bales, that started leaking air out of one of these cracks, which is the same story as last year when it did the same thing to me. And we patched it up on the inside and we put a tube in it, and it's lasted all this time. But I think the tube was actually for a much smaller sized tyre, and so we were probably pushing it a bit with that size tyre anyway. And when we took the tube out, we thought that it will have just pinched on one of the cracks, but we found that actually it was the valve that had perished. And it wasn't a very old tube either, so we thought we were just kicking dust down the road really, repairing these tyres. So we decided to get the set of 650s out, Continental 650s that we bought the other day, and we thought, well, let's just put them on, try them on, because hopefully they won't need repairing and it'll be a job done, rather than just temporarily fixing a problem with these Kelbers, which are just a terrible tyre. They didn't like being low pressure, so it's not ideal, because we wanted to be able to run them softer. So we took this off the case rim, put one of these Continentals, which are now on the John Deere. So this is a Continental 650, but once we put it on the case rim and put it on the tractor and let the jack down, we realised that not only, well, two things. One thing is they're called 650. It says 650 on the tyre there, 650, 65, 38, but they didn't look any wider than the 580 that was on the other side. So we got the tape measure out, measured it, and these 650s are exactly 600 wide, and those Kelber 580s are 580 wide. So they're only 20 centimeters wider than the one that was on it, and it was also quite a bit, well, a little bit lower, as in the tyre wasn't as tall. So then we ummed and ahed whether to put both of them on this or whether to take them off the John Deere, because the ones that were on the John Deere were these really good set of Goodyears that I got second hand, which are 580 70s, which in theory is the same size tyre as the Kelber, which was the same size tyre as what was on this case. They've been on the John Deere for the last couple of months, and if anything they're probably a bit too big for the machine. It makes the four-wheel drive wind up, and also one of them seems a little bit misshapen, the right hand one, and it made the tractor wobble when you're on the road. You're doing this all the time because it's a really light tractor. So we sort of thought that they might be better off on the case, because it means we can run them. They're really good solid walled tyres, so you can run them low pressure, and then we'll put these slightly smaller ones, these 650s, which are actually only 600s, on the John Deere. And we measured the Goodyear 580s that were on the John Deere, and they should be 580, but when we actually measured them, they're 600 wide, exactly the same as the 650 Continentals. So we were a bit surprised at that, because it's a bit of a con that they're selling 650 tyres that are only 600 mil wide, but we did think that the Goodyears were slightly taller than the Continentals, so the obvious thing to do would have been to put the Continentals on the John Deere, hopefully get rid of the wobble, stop the four-wheel drive winding up, and they're pretty much the same width, and then a decent set of Goodyears on the case to basically just fix the tyre and bin off the Kelbers and stop using them. So that's what we've done. So it meant taking that tyre off the case, wheel, rim, and then taking both of them off the John Deere and swapping them both round. So that's where we're up to now. But when we put the Continental ones on, the second one, he did tell me when I bought it, he said it had a repair. We saw the patch repair on the inside, and it looked like a pretty good job, a pretty good professional patch. But it was only when we pumped the tyre up we realised that the outside damage was quite substantial. There's quite a big slit. It's right at the bottom of the tyre now, because we just filled it with glue and sat it on a block of wood just to try and seal it up. But I don't think it'll work, but we thought we'd just try it. So that's the only worrying part of the whole operation, because we don't know how long that tyre is going to last, that repair. It might last forever, or it might last for a day. We have no idea. I don't think the guy we bought them off ever tried them on a rim after he had it repaired. He just bought a new set. So that's what we've done. We've actually got pretty good at doing it now. We can do it. We use this thing. We've got this sling. So we use the Bale grab, because you can use this bar for pushing the tyre, to breaking the tyres off the rim, breaking the rim, and then we just have a sling with a hook on it for lifting the rims up. So to flip your tyres over, to lift them, carry them around, take them off, put them back on, we just use the JCB. So it makes really light work of it, and we've just got it really streamlined now that we've done it in about, well, we've done the whole job in about 2 hours, so which for us that seems pretty good for back tyres. Our jack, this jack, for some reason this bottle jack, it keeps jamming up. It's an air compressor jack, and when it works brilliant, but it started pumping up fine, and then it won't let down again. You can unscrew the release to let it down, and it doesn't go down. So I don't know if anyone knows what that problem is. We can't figure it out. Sometimes if you just leave it overnight, it'll go down. In fact, it almost always has done eventually. Sometimes it takes days, doesn't it?
It's better if you tighten it up and then come back to it and then open it.
Yeah, if you leave it screwed up, as in so it can't go down, and just leave it for overnight and then come back to it in the morning and open it, sometimes it'll go down. So we can't figure that out. It's obviously some sort of a valve that keeps getting stuck. bit, yeah, it's a bit annoying because the only way to get, when you've got stuff jacked up, the only way to get it down is to use another jack to jack it up even higher, and then you can pull it out from underneath. But we'll just leave this tractor here overnight probably. Hopefully put the mower on again tomorrow, do some more mowing. There's probably we've probably got another 3 fields, a little 3 acre, a 4 acre, which we'll just keep for ourselves, and then there's a 10-11 acre field that we might cut, and there's a good crop on it, and then we might ferry them all to my friend Mike's as well to sell them. But we need to do a bit of modifications to the trailer first. We need to cut the front bar off and extend it so that it's closer to the tractor, so that we can get all of the weight of all the bales forward 6 inch basically. And then we're hoping that will mean that we'll be able to fill the trailer right up properly, and it'll be a little bit more balanced on the hitch. So we'll see. Went and tethered out the grass that I mowed yesterday, and I'm just going to spray these shafts with oil with a bit of WD, because I think I'm going to have to alter the timing on this side. We had the other side apart and we've retimed them, but what I was noticing last night was that there was tines banging together on these two, and I think tines occasionally banging together on those two, and it seems like they all just want moving a tooth on the timing on the crown. But if we do that one, this seems to be the worst one, if we do that one, it's going to make everything else need doing, because the way it wants to turn, it's going to make it worse for this rotor, if that makes any sense. So if we do one, we're going to have to do 1, 2, 3, which means you've got to basically take this wheel cast off this pin, and when we took that one, I think we did, off, it was bloody tight. They always are, even on the chrome one, they seem to seize on really tight, so I thought, well, I'll just spray them with oil now. I don't know if I'm going to get time to do it today, but yeah, it's not really, wouldn't really like to keep using it the way it is, because it's just going to break a load of tines. So I might, if we need to do more tedding before we get a chance, I might actually get the other tedder out and give that one a whirl. But it's a shame, because everything else about this tedder I really like. It slows nicer to use, and it makes a really nice job. But yeah, it just banging tines really does your head in. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is these tyres, these Continental tyres. What an absolute game changer these are. I'm so glad we spent the time and changed them and swapped them over, because this tractor in particular travels loads nicer. It's just, I can't believe how much difference a set of tyres can make to the ride quality in the cab. It's just so smooth. They must be really soft tyres. Well, they are soft tyres, which I don't know whether is a good thing or not, because those Goodyears that were on it are real thick wall. You could tell when we were putting them on, they're real thick walled tyres, and they were too stiff, and they made this tractor just bounce around all over the place, and it was sort of unbearable. Whereas these are just amazing. And also, because they're a slightly smaller circumference, the four-wheel drive doesn't wind up anywhere near as much when you're braking. So yeah, really happy with that. We haven't actually used the Goodyears on the case yet. Dan's not actually used it, so he hasn't reported back on what they travel like. I'm hoping they'll be alright, but yeah, I'm a little bit worried that he's going to moan that they make that tractor wobble around on the road, but we'll see. But so far I'm really happy with these. I'm still completely shocked how much of a con it is that they're marked as 650s when they're nowhere near 650, they're 600s. But anyway, apparently they do vary in size a bit. Apparently Michelin's are slightly smaller than they're advertised as well, but anyway. Oh, I don't know you, Dan's extended he's welded that little 6-inch piece of channel in, which has brought the whole front ladder forward 6 inches. So hopefully we'll be able to, it'll bring the whole load of, you know, each bale forward 6 inches, which will bring put the weight back on the front of the trailer, on the hitch rather than on the axles. So he's done that yesterday, and he's also made this bar which holds the pipes and the cable. But I've just noticed that this link arm on this tractor catches it if you turn too sharp, so you might have to redesign that. You might get away with it on the John Deere because they've got shorter link arms, but this one, I think if you turned tight with it, I'll show you now, I think it'll just snap it off. Tight a lock as you can go. Look what's just arrived. Better late than never. The first cut fertiliser, which is now going to be the second cut fertiliser. Bale wrap, it's arrived. It's not the stuff that I asked for, but it's probably better than nothing. At least we've got some. I don't know whether it's on plastic rolls or cardboard rolls or what. We'll find out when we open it. But the main thing is we've got some, so we can carry on making bales. I've just been to pick up some milk powder and some barley and some nuts and some bale net. Happy days. Right, off we go. The sun's finally come out. It's been a bit of a shame really, because it's been a real cloudy day so far, so the grass isn't going to be anywhere near as dry as I was hoping it would be, but the sun has finally come out. It's about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on, what day is it? It's Monday afternoon, is it? Just check. Tuesday the 28th of April, so we're near the end of the month. So we've got about 16 acres to go and bale now in about, is there 4 fields? Yeah, 4 little fields. So just trying to get all the little fields tidied up, or some of the little fields, and then we're hopefully going to mow one of the bigger fields tomorrow because the weather looks good for the next 2 days. So Dan's gone ahead of me in the rake, so we'll go and see how we get on. First field done. Dan's going into the next one. So there was actually 17 bales on that field, which I think is the most I've ever had. Well, I can't remember there ever being more than a trailer load, so we seem to consistently get 14 bales every time we cut it, because I can always get it all on one load. So 17 bales seems a bit odd, and I've got half a bale in the chamber. Don't really understand that. And the reason I don't understand it is because this, for the first cut ever, well, for the first cut in a while, it didn't have any fertiliser because it didn't have any, and we've cut it probably 2 weeks earlier than what we normally would cut it, so it doesn't really make much sense. And before you ask, yes, the baler is on full pressure, so they should be heavy bales. So. Second field done. We got 10 off that one, which is pretty good. It's no less rough than it is. This is what I call a dog field. It's still very rough, and I rolled it with the roller before we put the extra weight on the roller. and it must have been maybe a bit too dry. I thought that it did a really good job when I rolled it, but it's still very, very rough. So now we'll go on to this field which is next door, which will be field 3, and we'll see. There's quite a good crop on here actually, so it's only about 3 acre. I'm quite chuffed with how dry this is now that the sun's come out, and I'm really glad that I came and tedded this out last night. It's one of them things I'm really glad I did, because it would have been quite wet otherwise if I'd left it in mower rows, so that was a good job done. The reason I hesitate to ted out these small fields is because last year, well, if there's a light crop on a field and you've got hot sunny weather, quite often it can get a bit over dry into the 24 hours. So some of the bales that I'm feeding my cows now are like, it's like hay. The grass was only cut and was lying down for 24 hours. And yet it's so dry, it's like hay, and it's almost a bit too dry really for the cows. I don't think they eat it as well, unless there's a little bit of moisture in it. So that's why quite often these small fields that never grow as well as the big fields, because they don't get as much light. There's such a light crop, I don't normally bother tedding them, because if it had been sunny all day yesterday and all day today, they'd have been plenty dry enough without. But because it was being really cloudy all morning, and it actually started spitting last night while I was tedding it, they've ended up just spot on, I would say. Quite pleased with it. Right, so the last bale, there was 17 on that reseed, on that little triangle field. That's the first time we've cut it since we reseeded it last year. So there's more on there than I was expecting. I was expecting less than 10. So I put my loader on, and now we're going to go and collect some bales. Really awkward numbers of bales, half loads. Well, we've got the first load on the new trailer since Dan's moved the front ladder, and it straight away it feels and looks loads better. There was plenty of weight on the hitch when I picked it up. I can't believe just moving everything forward 6 inches has made all that difference, but it's not rattling on the hitch at all, so it took a bit of the balance, took a bit of the weight off the axles of the trailer and put a bit more on the tractor, which is exactly what we wanted. Dan's just going to have to move this bar that he's put on for his pipes and cables, because I can't turn any more than like 30 degrees without catching the link arm. So yeah, that's going to have to be adjusted, but apart from that, I'm really chuffed. The tow's lovely, this trailer. Well, it's now the next day, it's Wednesday, and we got all the bales in last night. Still 2 trailer loads to unload, but I've only unloaded 1 run. I'm going to go mow some more and make the most of this lovely weather, because I want to try and get this next lot nice and dry, because we're hopefully going to sell it. So I want to get it mowed now. It's about 10-11 o'clock. Get it tedded out this afternoon if we can fix the tether, and maybe ted it out again tomorrow before we bale it. I don't know, we'll see how dry it is, and then get sort of another I've got a 10-acre field to mow, and I might mow two little fields, which will be another 5-acre, don't know. Get that all boxed off, and then try and get some fertiliser on in amongst all this rain that we're going to get next week apparently. I don't think we'll get heavy rain, but we're going to get some showers, I think, so it should be good enough to spread. So that's the plan for today. Hopefully Dan will get up and fix some things. We've got a puncture on the big new trailer tyre, had a big nail in it, so that needs fixing. Tether needs fixing, and something else. Oh, the milk machine this morning gone wrong, so that needs fixing as well, but that's not urgent because there's still got 1 stall working, so there's not that many carbs on it. This is the reseed we did last year. We reseeded just this little section of the field where we cleared some trees, and it's obviously this bit's not been reseeded. What a drop of grass! Having tether issues. We can't seem to be able to get the lely tether. We can't get the leg off to change the timing on one of the rotors. We've been trying for the last hour or so. It just won't come off. It'll twist on the shaft, but it won't slide down. So for us to be able to pull the pinion down to change it over a tooth, if that makes any sense. It's a similar setup on this tether, to be honest. They're always like pigs to get undone. You have to heat them up. But we thought once we got it spinning side to side, it would drop, because they normally do. But it just wouldn't drop. We can't really make it out. So Dan's trying to make a puller to get it off. And in the meantime, I want to get this grass flicked out. Well, I wanted it flicked out an hour ago, really, but. So I've just put the old crone on, and we're going to go and give it a go. I have noticed that it's got quite a lot of missing tines, but hopefully we can just get it flicked out of the mower rows, and then maybe Dan will be able to sort the other one out so we can use that one tomorrow. Well, it doesn't quite do the job of the lely one. On it, considering it's had no fertiliser. I wonder in these videos how many times I'm going to say that this year. I feel like I've already said it quite a few times. But then I won't be able to say it after first cut, because second cut will hopefully all have fertiliser. But all the first cut I'm going to just keep saying that over and over again. The tether's doing its snaky rocking back. I don't know whether the camera picks it up, but it's stopped now. It's wiggling rocking from side to side. It's the one thing you don't get with the lely one. Dan's made a puller for pulling these cast lumps off because they're flipping tight. So to change the timing, you have to drop this basket down to make that gap nearly an inch, and then you can move the timing over a tooth, which we've done with that one. So those two are now right, we think, we hope. But now this one wants doing as well, and then hopefully it'll all be right. But we'll have to give it until you sort of take it to the field and try it. It's hard to know, because sometimes it can run fine in the yard, but as soon as you put some grass through it, it starts banging. Well, we're back baling again. It's the 30th today. We've got blue skies, really lovely dry grass. It's going to make some nice silage, but having to go pretty slow because it's quite a big crop in the middle, but that's a good thing. Tash has just come with a drone, so hopefully we're going to get some drone footage. And I better say thanks to Dan for fixing the drone after the last time I flew it into a tree. He's had to put a new wiring harness in it. So he said that he doesn't want it crashing into another tree, so Tash is being extra careful. chain just hadn't settled in on its sprocket. Right, we're off again. Is the camera still rolling? Yeah, we're off again. We've had we just finished the headlands of the big field, and we had a bearing go on one of the rollers, so we just had to nip back and change that. Luckily, we managed to pilfer one off the donor baler. Donor baler strikes again. So it was much more of a job getting it off the old baler than it was replacing it onto this one, but anyway, we've done it now, so we'll go back and carry on hopefully. Dan's already finished raking, he's come back and now he's gone again with the wrapper, so he's going to do the two little fields that we baled first. There was 15 or so in there, and then I'm hoping there'll be about 50 or 60 on the big field, but we'll see how we get on. All done, 60 bales exactly. Dan's run out of wrap though, so I'll just run and get some more. And then we'll try and get some of them loaded up tonight. Don't really want to leave them because there's loads of birds about. But with the baler breakdown, it's set back in the day a bit now. I was hoping to get 2 loads away to where they're going, but some of these are getting stuck on. Most of these are sold, and the ones on the little fields will keep, so we'll probably move them first. Go around the way. need to get some sheep, so we might be doing that, going to a sheep sale, trying to find some cheap sheep. Got a few fields that I carved out. And then we'll be trying to make some hay next, probably.